Hi there! So, On the Go with Carson just posted a TMI travel tag, and I thought I would try it. Usually, when people ask me, oh, so what was your favorite country? What was your favorite experience? Etc. I get stuck because I don't know, so this will help me think as well. So, the first question is, what was the last country you visited? And that has to be Germany, specifically Berlin. I was there for 2.5 days and it was for a meeting. It was probably my fourth time in Berlin, and I was exploring a different part. I'm always staying in different parts, so that helps me explore the city more. The second question is, how many countries have you visited? Let's see. I've only visited a few countries, um, but I have visited many cities. So the last new country I visited was Spain. So I visited Spain and France, although it's Strasbourg. So sometimes I don't even count it with France because it's so near. In fact, I cross from Germany usually. So Spain, France, Germany, in many cities, many different times. I have been, I think, the most regions. I've been to Baden-Württemberg when I was 15. Um, Bonn combined with Düsseldorf. This is the area that I go to for summer camp. So that's 3 regions, and also Berlin, which is another region. So 4 regions. Um, I've also been to Brussels twice for work. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Sweden twice. I've been to Czech Republic. I've been to Hungary twice, 2 different places. I've been to Turkey overnight, but I still explored a bit. And I've been to Cyprus. Oh, and I've been to Latvia. Oh my god. And I've also been to Italy. Could I have forgotten that? I visited a lot of cities. When I was 7, it was my first trip. We visited this area, and then I visited Turin twice, and I'm going again, and I went to Bologna and also Rome. I've been to 12 countries. Soon I think it will be more. I'm 23, so that's quite good, and I've only started traveling when I was 15, except when I was 7. Although I have visited many cities and different times, and I've revisited a couple of countries, which I think is good to explore. Third question is, what is your favorite place in the world that you've been to? The first place that comes to mind is Ireland. I enjoyed that experience. I'm thinking all the places that I've been to on holiday, which are quite a few actually. And the fourth question is, favorite place in your home country. Um, I like my village. It's small and I like it. I like our capital, Valletta. I always discover something new there. I also like all the countryside and all the valleys and walks. But probably my favorite place is Medina, which is like the old capital, and it's a medieval town. It's a very, very, very small, but it's very, very nice. Fifth question is, if you could board a plane right now, where would you go? Um, Probably somewhere like Nepal and Sri Lanka. If we're thinking Europe, Greece, Carnac in France, I want to visit. Sixth question is, what's your cup of tea? Tropical island getaway, snow ski break. I'm trying to remember these by heart. Snow ski break or city exploring. I think that's correct. Um, I like all of those. I've never been skiing, but I think I would like it, especially snowboarding, which is a bit harder. Um, City exploring. Sometimes I prefer not cities. But if I had to explore, in fact, that's what I'm doing in my country, going village and cities and exploring. But here it's a bit different, like cities and villages and countryside, they're all jammed together. So I would explore countryside with a city. Um, Tropical island getaway probably because I would eat a lot of fruit, which I love, and I would try to find fair trade fruit, which is what I am currently working on. Yeah, probably tropical island getaway. Though I am not fond of the heat, I have to admit. I get enough of that in my country. Question. I forgot which number it is. What's your top three hand luggage items or must-haves? Usually I take everything on my hand luggage, so everything that I take is a must-have. But if I had to specifically choose three items, especially that I cannot do without, it's camera, water, maybe cheekily I would add water and lip balm, and journal plus pen. I think those are like the three that I just cannot do without. This is actually the eighth question that we're on. We're on the eighth question. Any travel tips to share? And yes, I have a few. I should probably make a few videos. But first of all is do plan but be flexible. If you have very little time though, plan well. If you are there more than 2 days, leave some room where you can because you discover new things when you're there and you will want to do them. So that's it. Also, I find that when you travel and you travel to visit friends, it's so much more enjoyable. Um, it makes your experience better. But sometimes you also want to explore, so vary what you do. Sometimes you also want to just explore and not socialize. So yeah. Also, I have like packing, like take class, and all those classic things. Bicarbonate of soda is a must-have when you travel. It's like could serve as a deodorant, whatever. The sarang thing, I always do it. So I always take a sarang, and now it's became like my blankie. When I'm away, it's like my. I put it on my bed. I always want more sheets anyway. Do keep a journal and camera. They help with memories and with recollecting stuff, especially if you travel a lot. Um, mm, Lip balm is a must as well. Um, Ideally, like something organic and something that is like fair trade or something that's ethical, guys. You will use this all the time. Be ethical about it. Don't have to match expectations. That's why I don't have so many disappointments usually. And I do make a list of places I would visit, but I usually, because I'm there for work, I visit like one of them. And for me, that's enough. Like, even with just walking in the streets, it's still worthwhile. You're still exploring. Ninth question. Oh, good. Let's hope. Yeah. Um, what's your most embarrassing moment abroad? I tend to get embarrassed quite easily. So I have like, but I never remember them. Like, it's more than embarrassing, it's awkward. Like, I would go to my hostel and not be sure if I should check in or if I should leave my luggage there and act really awkwardly that then I embarrass myself. I have quite a few of those. Also, like falling and probably appearing like really. I I don't care how I look sometimes, especially when I'm abroad. So I appearing like really hectic. But the episode I go to was when I was 7. It was my first time abroad. This is like probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And I felt like there was another boy, like a young boy, and he was walking near to our hotel pool, and I was like, I know I was told not to do it, but if he's doing it, why can't I? And I went just near the edge of the pool, and I remember still thinking, not in these terms, but oh god, oh shit, or something along those lines. I remember me thinking something like that. Um, and I fell into the pool with all my clothes. And the thing is, we were just ready to go out, and we were on a tour with my family and other people. And so we were almost ready to board the coach to go visit somewhere. And my mom, um, yeah, so my mom and I went to the room, like we got towels and clothes for me to change in, and I had a towel wrapped around me, and it was so embarrassing. I had to, because we had to be quick. I had to get changed, like of course holding a towel around me, but outside next to the pool, so that we had to be quick and board the coach. That was like really embarrassing. And this is the thing, I tend to forget. I write these stuff, so once I read about them, I will be like, oh yeah. Next question is biggest disappointment. And actually, as I mentioned before, I tend to, although have plans, not expect so much. And for me, whatever I explore is enough. It has to be because that's all I got to do. But um, I have two stories. One of them is like when I visited Sweden the second time, and Sweden is a country close to my heart. It was the country that I knew that throughout my life I will be revisiting. Great time the second time I was there, because, and I was there for 21 days, so I get to work. I had some days where I did nothing, and other days where I was exploring. And even though I was staying with family, I was going on my own. But I remember um, seeing the intolerance that there is for Roma people in Sweden, and Sweden having such a good reputation with human rights, knowing that Roma people cannot work and they have to beg, although it's also in the culture, it's like a two-way process. It's not totally the government's fault, but I was considering moving to this country for a while, and seeing this, it disappointed me, to be honest. But not the country. And also, I know that there are people that are working on this issue, so it's not like I'm blaming everyone. I just I saw some people that were totally desensitized. I guess after a while that's what happens, but I remember feeling disappointed. Second time was a few months ago. Um, I went to, like, we were on a training course in Castilla y Leon. And we were in Madrid for 2 days, the first and the last. Actually, the last was like 1.5 days. So I had someone tell me you should go to Toledo, and I was like, Toledo seems nice, and it's a UNESCO site. And I was with two friends, and I was telling them, guys, let's go to Toledo, and we were all planning. And we had to get up really early, check out. We had to leave the key there because there was no one to check us out. Um, and if you're hearing this, this is the bread van. Um, and when we would go there, there were strikes, and we had to really rush. We had all our luggage with us. Granted, it wasn't a lot, but yeah. I go to the, I think it was Renfe counter, and then they told us we had to take a ticket, but because we were leaving on that day, they served us. And I understand Spanish quite well. um, I was trying to speak in Spanish, but I was hurried, so sometimes I switched to English. And they told us that the next one would be in like 1.5 hours, and we had to be at like the airport at around 4, I think. So we didn't have time to go stay there and come back. So I decided not to go. But the guy was really rude. He was like, "Oh, maybe they should," in Spanish to his friend, and I was understanding. Like maybe they should have checked internet, whatever. And we had the day before. The day was too early for us to check. And I remember that there was supposed to be another one, like 5 or 10 minutes from when we were there. Um, and then I go to the monitor after we're like, okay, guys, we're not going to Toledo, let's explore somewhere else. And I remember seeing the screen and realizing that the one that I was thinking of was cancelled, but the guy didn't tell me that. So this more like pissed off slash disappointed. The guy told me, "Oh no, you should have checked the monitors. There's one at this time." He didn't tell me the other one was postponed. So there were strikes there, which also affected how we kind of had a bit of a panicky moment. Good that we didn't go to Toledo. Maybe the train back would have been delayed and it would have been a complete disaster. So next question is nicest surprise. I have quite a few. Usually they are about unexpected stuff. Going to Tivoli because like in Rome, I was supposed to go to with someone else. It ended up being just me, which was okay in the end. I was 20. I was 20. And it was my first holiday in like 5 years. And I went alone, and then I met people in my hostel, and we made friends, and it was so nice. Although I overstayed all of their stays. So there was this Belgian woman. She was there only for one night, and she was going to Tivoli after. So I was like, okay, I will come and join you tomorrow. And I went to Tivoli, and it was so nice. And the Villa Adriana, which actually I didn't know it was a UNESCO site, but also Hadrian is like one of the uh, historic figures that I like to read about, and so this was nice. I'm also getting to explore Ostia Antica because I was staying in Lido di Roma, which is like near Ostia, and getting to explore because I didn't know that there was this huge archaeological site just 2 stops away from me. Um, Also, for example, in Sweden, my second time, I didn't know that the Maritime Museum was free, and I went there twice because there was like this exhibition on um, sailor tattoos, marine tattoos. And the second time, there was like Viking reenactments and Viking ships, and I was like, oh my god! And I went there because it was free and it was so nice. So, the last question is top 3 places on top of your bucket list. So, Greece, um, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. Nepal. But also Thailand and Tibet. I want to explore South Asia, but also Greece because I love I love ancient history. And which isn't just Greece. I will look for ancient history anywhere. Also, I've been interested in the Balearic Islands recently and the Iberian Islands because all the Iberian Islands because of their prehistory. So that was it. I hope you enjoyed it. I also hope that my stories were interesting and not boring. I was seeing the questions, I was like, what am I going to say in these? And then you start talking. They may not be the ones that you were really the like the biggest surprises or disappointments, but you will think of a few and then you pick. Sometimes you forget. It's quite normal. Okay, bye. To be Germany. Oh. Sixth question. Spelling. Pronunciation.